You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Financially Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Creighton. As always, I'm excited to be here with you all today as we continue with our sessions, bringing in Michael Roberts. I think he's been a great guest on our podcast. Today, we're talking about how ownership changes everything. And, from myself having been owner of a technology company, Michael Roberts owning quite a few real estate properties amongst various other things. I think this episode is very fitting to have us both here to really engage and talk about why this matters and why you should do it early and often. I think oftentimes a lot of people are waiting for the right moment to take that step and become an owner. And the reality is that there's never a right time. The right time is now. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome Michael Roberts to the stage.
Hey.
Hey man, good to see you as always. How you doing?
Likewise, man. I'm doing great. Can't complain. Everything kind of when you're your own boss, man. You do your own things, right?
That's quite fitting for our episode today, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's interesting when you have ownership, the flexibility that you have. I think that, you know, when I was running Turn Signal, yeah, we were working a lot, but also, when I needed that time with my family or I needed time to go and do other things, I did have some flexibility from that perspective. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man.
Yeah. So I always think like at the end of the day, if you don't own, you don't have control of your own life, right? You gotta get paid leave or you gotta act sick. You know what I mean, to kind of get your schedule to fit how you want it to fit and to be able to move where you want to move and go on vacations with the family and so on. And at the end of the day, when you're an employee and you don't have ownership or net worth equity in the company, it's like you're expendable, right? Like it's next man up mentality when it comes to how quickly a company can let you go just as quick as they brought you in. And I experienced that big time coming out of school and just jumping into the real world of business and trying to find my way through those avenues and just like finding out how expendable I was to these companies and how quick they can literally just let go a whole department and just clean slate to make things work, because it's a business mindset. You gotta cut the fat here and there to keep the business rolling and going forward. And it's like
Yeah,
a net worth, what I mean? Having net worth or owning something is not full control. I look at it as optionality, gives you,
hmm hmm
that control, the ability to be able to choose your next move without pressure, right? That's kind of how I see, real control. Because you got high net worth people that are literally living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm out there making millions and still living paycheck to paycheck because they're not liquid. They don't have that optionality to step away and move how they want to move. So
Yeah, I love some of the things you said, man. I think about So I've been on both sides of that, right? I've been on the side as an employee that's been furloughed in the past. Um, I've been on the side of it where I've been a business owner. I've had to furlough someone, right? And the reality is that when you're an owner, you got to make these tough decisions. When you're at that table, and whether it's you have board members or investors or whoever it may be that are dependent and they want to see shareholder holder value increasing, right? And sometimes, like you said, you have to trim the fat. And you know it's interesting because I've always thought there's a better way to be able to do business. I always thought that, um, when you're at the top, we see oftentimes the individuals that are kind of the worker bees are the ones that are on the ground floor being laid off, but yet the executives are still getting their bonuses and such. And, when me, Mike, and Jazz started Turn Signal, when we were going through some tough times, and we had to reduce, kind of trim the fat. The three of us actually said, "Hey, actually, we're going to be the ones to take some. We're going to take the pay cut temporarily, right? And just to be able to try to keep people in their jobs and things like that." So I do think there's a way to um, challenge the way that things have always been done. But at the end of the day, like that pressure of the investors and that shareholder value increasing is always going to be kind of um, the top initiative, I should say, in any business that's being ran. I'd love to hear your thoughts, as you think about shareholder value and like how do you strike that balance?
It's a hard one, because you wanna give to the people who are holding you up and supporting you, right? As well as protect the vessel that's actually bringing home the bacon. But like, at you know what I mean. At the end of the day, you walk a fine balance of that, and you gotta. That's the hard part with business. Is cutthroat. At the end of the day, you can't. You have to think about people in general, but like business, the way it operates and functions, it doesn't have room for aches and pains and heartaches and heartbreaks and stuff like that. It just moves forward. It's a train. It's a freight train. I mean, it has
Hmm.
to keep pumping. It has to keep generating profits, margins, and that's a hard thing to try to, when you're looking at how do I cut this thing up without cutting somebody or something. Somebody's gonna get cut, and you can't really avoid that interaction. I mean, it
Yeah,
has to go forward for you to actually, I mean, keep the thing alive, because or else you're bleeding in the street as a business. So it's just a tough give and take. It's like a double-edged sword. Got
it
to
certainly
stab to be
is.
stabbed.
Yeah, it certainly is, man. It's a double-edged sword. And I think the question comes down to like, is there such thing as too much, right? When I'm working with entrepreneurs on a daily basis, I think a lot of their goal is to get to that exit, where PE comes in and buys them, or maybe it's uh, a strategic purchase from someone that's in their marketplace. And I often ask founders like, what is your exit strategies? Meaning like, what multiple are you looking for this? Like what value of sell are you looking for? Is that 50 million? Is that 100 million? Is that a billion? Are you looking to be a unicorn? Like what is your end goal? And when I was a founder, people asked me that, question around like, what's the end goal with Turn Signal? How much, what is your exit strategy? What do you want to get out of this? And it was a really tough question to answer. And I think that, as you start to grow a company and you start to see that enterprise value increase, inevitably you just want more, right?
Yep.
But is my question to you, is there a such thing as enough? Like, is it 50 million? Is it 100 million? Like, what is there such thing as enough?
That's when you turn into the pig, right? And what they say, hogs get slaughtered.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's a hard one to think about. Where do you stop? You want to keep growing and building this thing out. Definitely, if you're seeing success and it's still climbing, it's hard to figure out your end game, right? That's why most people don't want to have an end game. Definitely when things are going good, it's just like I said, it leads back to optionality. If I can create or construct optionality within what I'm doing, it doesn't matter when it ends or how it keeps running because I have, the ability to maneuver how I want to maneuver. I can create liquidity without, if I can step away from this thing and still be liquid in some way, shape, or form. I mean? The sky's the limit. Most people don't like to take their foot off the gas when they're, building out something great, like turn signal, for instance, and so
Hmm.
on. It's a hard thing to do as an entrepreneur, is to say where am I stopping myself, where am I capping myself, because as entrepreneurs, that's what we do this for, is to have no limits, right? To be able to walk out and just say, I can make what I'm worth. I'm not here to be limited or capped. If I wanted to do that, I'll just go work a 9 to 5 and get a W-2 job again, and just say, hey, I'll go work. Like literally, I would rather be an entrepreneur making what I can year to year, right, than to go accept a $250,000 salary somewhere where I'm capped and that's what I'm doing day in, day out, right? I like to have optionality in my lifestyle, in everything that I do, so I can actually maneuver how I want to maneuver. Because everything to me is for it's about my family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To be able to be there for them when I can, for my boys' basketball games and stuff like that. Everything has to make sense, right? And no amount of money, right? Like if I had the option to make billions, right? Or have that time with my family, it's gonna be my family over them billions. I can tell you that now. But like that's why I do everything that I do. But for everybody, it's to each its own. Everybody has their own limits and they have their own I made it, FU money, you know what I mean, that they're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
And it's different for every person, you know what I mean? People, like, some people understand, wealth isn't just monetary cash value. It's I'm wealthy in people, you know what I mean? In the
Mm.
love that I share, in everything that I have around me in abundance, from the love that I get and I give in return from my community and then some. So that type of wealth you can't put a number on. And at the end of the day, like, you we can't really figure out how to take us, from where we are to that next level and be like, okay, I'm done here. I want to stop and sit it down. Guys that are in the position that we're in to keep making absurd amounts of money, like, we don't have a threshold of like where we want to land
Hmm.
this thing. It's just, when I have success in this area, I'm going to take some of this success here and the cash flow from here to go start venturing to something else, right? And keep expanding and building out. I'm never going to sit here and be like, okay, I've done enough here. Let me just go and shut it down right there. That's my legacy. I'm done. No, it's until I'm dead, until my last breath, I'm going to keep building and growing and pushing this thing forward. So I don't
Yeah.
see any way of, truly pulling back on anything that I have going forward that's snowballing already. Like, that's a hard thing for any entrepreneur to do, is to hit the brakes and to say, I'm where I made it to where I want to. Because as soon as you reach a certain goal, like, you're going for that next one, or you're setting something else even bigger and higher. So that's a hard one to even to try to consume there.
Yeah. I struggle with that one too of what's enough. Because I think innately, if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, it's less about like how much money I can accumulate, but it's the fun in like building something. It's the fun in like in using your brain or that muscle to do something different often.
That's
And I
it.
think really that like the money that comes out of that is like a byproduct of it. Like, I have tons of ideas of things that I want to do. And I think the reality is like I think my wife does a really good job of making sure that I stay grounded and like
Yeah.
you only can do so much. and there's other people that are dependent on you to do other things.
Yes, sir.
And as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to keep that in line. But I know the importance of it. You talked a lot about how, if you had something where you could make $1 billion or spend that time with your family, you're choosing your family 100% of the time. And I agree with that. I think in that essence, there is a such thing as too much,
Yep.
because too much means, hey, my family's having to sacrifice now because I want X dollars. So I think for both of us, it's like, yeah, we want to do what we want to do good, we want to do well, we want to continue to build and build an empire, and also not at the sacrifice of our family
Yep.
and that relationship that we have with our family.
Yep. That's a big one there. Like, cause without your family, man, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
Without them pushing us to inspire us to do the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. I throw on my cape and run out the door because of my family. Like, that's like I'll run into you know what I mean, to a burning building for my family, and that's the type of drive that any successful man needs behind them. You know what I mean, a good woman, good family to just keep you grounded and driving, because there's a lot of things in this world that deter you from like taking those risks and doing the things that you should possibly be doing. And at the end of the day, like as entrepreneurs, our main like I could probably speak for all of us, right? Our main objective too is, yes, to make enough to the point where our families don't need or want for anything, right? But every entrepreneur at heart wants to make so much money that they're able to give so much more, right? To the
Right.
community and the people that help them along the way. And that's one of my big things too, is I want to give more than I can ever receive. So like
100%.
that's a big objective of mine, and I assume that's every entrepreneur with a big heart as well, like yourself. So you know there's no amount of money that I could say, yeah, I'm done here, right? Because I understand the more I can make, the more that I can give and support others, and make it, you know pay it forward to other people in places that I know need it the most. So that's a big objective for me when it comes to like building out and ownership. And then another thing with ownership is like, if you don't own, like, everybody understands our tax system and everything, right? It is not structured for the W-2 worker, right? They get taxed, before they get their money, after they get their money, they go into the store, they get taxed. You know what I mean? They're taxed throughout the system everywhere they go, right? They're paying taxes,
100%.
right? Whereas when you own a business or a corporation or whatnot, you receive your money up front. We're 1099, 1089s, 10 somethings, right? We got like I've received probably 15 of them already this year. And it's like we receive 100% of our money up front, and then we can strategize to figure out, how to write majority of that stuff off so we're not hit, what I mean, by a taxation. And a lot of people don't understand that's the system, working for ownership. Like if you own the business, you don't you get 100% of your money up front. You know what I mean? You're not waiting for, what I mean, taxes to come around, because if you're getting taxes back, you're broke. That's just the honest to God truth of the matter. Like, people that are receiving a tax refund aren't really they're scraping by, right?
Right.
And I can only speak to that because I've been there. So like,
Yep.
I'm not
Me
just
too.
sitting up on my high horse like, yo, you broke if you getting a tax refund or a tax return. Because at the end of the day, I've been there. And at the same time, the system's not made for W-2 workers. They pay into the system because it's supporting them as income, right? Whereas businesses and business owners and ownership, like, we create jobs, and we create, opportunities for others, which circumvents, money throughout the economy. And that's kind of how that's why they
Hmm.
do it, the trickle down effect, where I used to sit back and think, why do they give big businesses and foundations and owners all this money when they should be giving it to the people who ain't got it? And then they understand that, oh, these people get that money. They're like, oh, I got money in my hand. What am I going to do with it? Stimulate the economy.
Yep.
I'm going to create jobs, do this and that, and it's going to trickle down through the system. I now understand that. First, I thought I was like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
straight bull. But that's how the economy works, and that's why ownership is so important because they're going to get the money first. You know what I mean? And then not only are they getting these stipends and whatever else they get first, they're going to keep 100% of their money up front, and then they tax strategize to keep 100% of their money on the back end anyways. So it's like you have to be an owner, operator. You know what I mean? You can't just be, you know what I mean, Joe Schmo working for his boss and thinking he's gonna make something of it or come out on top or retire. Your owner, your boss is not your retirement plan. You know what I mean? That they're not your exit plan. You're going to be in the rat race forever. And if you're living beyond your means, you know, at the same time, and you're working backwards because you're now chasing loans and all this extra stuff, you're definitely not going to get out of it. You
Yeah.
got to literally figure out what you're making for the year, live below that, and invest the rest. You know what I mean, to try to catch up. Because at the end of the day, if you're not investing majority of what you're making, you're literally working backwards, and you can't rely on, you know what I mean, pensions, social security, and all this extra stuff to take care of you because it's not guaranteed. None of it is.
100%. Yeah, man. You're not wrong. I know that we're getting close to time, and you talked a little bit about taxes. I'm not going to get into that. You know, I'm a former tax teacher, so
Yeah.
I can talk about that all day. But one of the things that's always stuck with me, in working with business owners and helping them with taxes when I was early in my career, was I saw consistently business owners that ran whatever business it was. Maybe they had a couple of teenagers in their home, and they had them on
Hmm.
payroll, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
you think about like, hey, little Bobby wants money to be able to go to the movies. Well, usually, like what our parents used to do was if they had it, they give us $20 out their pocket. Here you go.
Yep.
But the reality is, like the way that real business owners think is, oh, I got my son, little Bobby, on payroll, and I'm gonna get a deduction for that because he's on payroll, and I'm gonna give him that same $20 out of my pocket, but actually it's gonna come out of the business, and he's gonna be able to go do said thing. So it's
Yep.
just like it just really like there's so many levels to this, and that's why I always say in these episodes, like, there are really three people that you really need in your life, like professionals. Like, yeah, there's others too, but like, you need a good CPA, you need a good attorney, and you need a good financial advisor. If you got those three things, like you are doing better than most people. And you're going to be set for most things that life is going to throw at you, whether that's, hey, I need to optimize my tax strategy, or I need to know how to set up my business so in the most tax advantageous way, or hey, if I get sued because someone now I got an attorney there on that I got on retainer on standby to help me get through that. Hey, if I made all this money from X company and I got a huge exit, I got a financial advisor that helps me think about how to use that money because I've never had that type of money before.
Yep.
So I need to know how to use it. There's a reason why, you look at these NBA players, some of these NBA
Yep.
players or professional sports players, and it's like, dog, you played 15 years in the NBA. Like, I think about AP, Adrian Peterson, like the pinnacle when I think about running back, like one of the greatest to ever play, if not the greatest. And dude is like broke.
Yep.
Like, how? I
Living
mean, I
beyond your
know there's
means.
living beyond their means. I know he did have some financial advisors that supposedly did some things, some inappropriate things with his money and things like that. But also, like, man, like, I I don't ever want to be in that position. So I want to make
Yep.
sure I have those three professionals on standby whenever I need them. And I actually happen to be able to, on the tax side, like I feel good with that because I've been in that world. But the other
Yep.
two, like I need them.
That's a tough one. And it's funny you bring him up. I just came across a bar fight with him and some dude giving him the mink, 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 mink. I was like, whoa, AP, come on, man. I even got his
Yeah, I saw
placard
that.
out here hanging with his
I saw
signature
that,
on it. I'm like,
man.
bro, you dropping values over here, bro. Come on. But like it is what it is. It's like the MC Hammer broke, right? Like these guys who make a lot of money, they have a lifestyle that's up here, right? And they got to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with their lifestyle. But then when your income dips and you haven't set aside money that's working for you, right? Because you're just making it, spending it, making it, spending it. That's why you're talking about these multimillionaires who are living paycheck to paycheck, literally, because their lifestyle is so high up here. They got to do everything extravagant, right? And that it costs to be living up here. And if your income, you know what I mean, takes a dive or a dip, you know what I mean, you can no longer live up here. But then they're so used to it, they like, I gotta stay up here. And now their money's just going away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Before they can put it in certain places like a annuity or something that's gonna annuitize. Something simple. You take 5, 10 mil, put it into an annuity, bro. Come on. It's gonna double, you know what I mean, almost every 5 years, 5 to 6, 7 years. So you're
Right.
never gonna run out of money. And most of these annuities have, you know what I mean, riders on the back of them that if you get critically, chronically, or terminally ill, you know what I mean, your payment doubles naturally. So it's like if you're not putting these certain things in place for yourself and for in the future, you're already jeopardizing yourself. While you're making that high income, start putting your money in places, you know what I mean, diversifying that money and not living all the way up here. Like half these people don't understand, man, these guys walking around with these chains, all this extra stuff, it's not real. None of it's
Yeah.
real. Half of them run around here with copper around their neck, but they're a big celebrity or so on. So you assume that chain they got on is worth a quarter mil or whatever it is they done told you it's worth, right? And that's not even the case. But everybody and their mama like, yeah, I want to go get that. I want to go do that. How do you think you doing that?
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors, man.
It is, man. It is. It really is. I appreciate what you just said, man, and I'm gonna leave people with this. I'll give mine first and my why around it. So the question is, if you could go to dinner with one person, who would it be? For me, mine is Adam Sandler, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why I would want to go to dinner with Adam Sandler is because I feel like he is the ideal person that I look at who is very wealthy, but you would never know it. You see him out at the on the basketball court hooping with the regular people. You see him walking down the street and he got on
Sweatpants.
some bummy looking sweatpants. Like he looked like I looked back when I was 18 with no bread.
Yeah.
Like I want to spend time with him because I want to understand, like, dude, I would love to see what his account looks like and the things that he's doing, how his things are set up. Like, he really is truly someone that, like, he sticks up for the right things. He doesn't, he seems like he doesn't overspend.
Yo,
Like, I really would love to see what his financial plan looks like.
yes,
So
sir.
that would be mine. Who would yours be?
It would have to probably be Warren Buffett, man. I just want to know more about, the
Classic.
like I get like I take a lot of his concepts and I implement into some of my stock trades and stuff like that. But like just to see his overall portfolio and where he's going with it now, because I've seen he's been jumping around to a few different realms with his money now, and just understanding, his main concept of like, I'm gonna sit it and hold. Like, why would I sell Coca-Cola stocks, right? When Coca-Cola pays me, 100 mil in dividends or whatever the heck,
Right.
the man's raking it in and they do that quarterly or whatnot, right? That's an automatic time paycheck. Like, why would you give those positions up? And the way that he just maneuvers and operates, I would love to, get the down low on what's his next move, where is he going from here, and utilizing AI
Mm,
and a few other things. So that would be my sit down to just kind of and he's much older. He's seen a lot, he's seen the markets go for many years. And I've only been looking at the market since like 2015, right? So
Yeah.
like that's a big differential right there for me to be able to soak up everything that he knows and where he thinks things are going. So I would definitely
Yeah.
love to sit down with that man.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. It's a classic.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett is like he's the king of this investment game. Like he knows this game in and out, man.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
well, I appreciate you, man. I know that we're at time. For those that are new or even those that have been with us, this concludes kind of our little 4 episodes with Mike. It's been great to have him on. What I will say is stay tuned because we do got something much bigger coming between me and Mike. If you've enjoyed these episodes and just the real authentic conversation, I would love for you to continue to follow our work. You can find us either of us on LinkedIn. And then outside of that, stay tuned to what's to come next. So without further ado, as I always say, it's not about how much money you make. The power is in how much money you keep.
You keep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. All right, man. Well, good to
All
see
right.
you, man. I'll see you on the next
Likewise.
one.
Yes,
All right.
sir. Stay blessed.
When she walked in on her first day at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas, she didn't know a soul.
I'm Zion, and I'm a second year at DFC.
A year later, and so many changes for Zion.
I love my friends here. I couldn't do anything without them. We support each other all the time.
At Doherty Family College, Zion also finds support on the academic side. Like all DFC students, Zion can count on a team committed to her success. Doherty Family College is Minnesota's affordable private college option. DFC students earn their associate's degree and then can transition to a 4-year college or university for their bachelor's. Many are students of color or first in their family to go to college.
It's nice to see people that look like you pursuing an education, wanting to succeed academically.
Zion encourages any high school student looking for a college home to do what she did and apply to Doherty Family College.
All the support you can need is here.
Ready to make your move and experience Doherty Family College for yourself? Then schedule your visit to the Minneapolis campus at dfc.stthomas.edu/visit.
Hi. It's easy to just make an ad that tells you to quit smoking. See?
Action!
Easy as that!
Sure is! Yeah!
But let's be real. Quitting is hard. It's messy, frustrating, but every struggle is actually a victory. At Quit Partner, you get free tools from people who get it. We're not going to tell you it's easy, just that when you're ready, you've got a partner to help you get it done.
Want to own a home, especially your first? Well then, welcome home to the Old National Bank Down Payment Assistance Program. We're here to help you from start to finish and make getting a mortgage a little easier. Plus, you may be eligible for up to $15,000 to use toward your down payment. How's that for a little easier? Everyone deserves a place to call home and a bank to help get them there. Connect with an Old National mortgage lender to learn more. Old National Bank. Get old in your new home.